the studio of the Culpeper Media Network, welcome to this edition of the Coach's Corner. I'm Mark O'Connell, joined as always by the incomparable, the indomitable, Steve Peacock. Steve, we've been here a few times before. It seems like we've come back rather quickly this season.
Yeah, I mean, just like past spring, we had that spring football, which was kind of unique, but given the pandemic, and now here we are back for the fall season where football should be played, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I'm not the first person to say or think this, but we just experienced the shortest off season maybe in the history of football, period, right?
You got that.
And so when we look back on that abbreviated season, each team played 6 games. Eastern View went 3-3. Culpeper didn't start out well, but they finished well with two wins and finished 2-4. And I think what both coaches had told us, and other coaches as well, is that, you know, for a lot of teams, that was more of an evaluation process type season where there wasn't as many expectations, or the expectations are a little lower, that we're going to use this time to evaluate. That seemed to be the recurring theme.
Well, I agree with you, Mark, to a certain degree. Mainly for Culpeper it was. But for Eastern View, 3-3, that didn't sit well too much with Coach Hatfield and that program. They thought they could do better, but this was their, it wasn't a losing record, wasn't a winning record, but this is the first year they didn't make the playoffs in that
Since 2012.
12.
Right.
And then with Coach Hatfield moving on to Battlefield, that just opened the whole thing up, and now it's like and Culpeper coming back into the Battlefield. It's going to be a unique season. I'm looking forward to it. And there's going to be a lot of surprises, I think.
I'm looking forward to it as well. So each year when we have the coaches show, we welcome our coaches to the studio. It's going to be a little different this year, of course. You've already alluded to it. We're going to welcome back Blue Devils head coach James Ford, and we're going to welcome for the first time the new Eastern View head coach, Brian Lowry. So let's get right to it. Meet the coaches. All right, joined now by Blue Devils head coach James Ford. Coach, great to see you.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here tonight. First thing I want to ask you is, people in the community have known about your health, and you look good. How are you feeling?
Feel great. I mean, feel strong. Taking it day by day. Understanding that, enjoying every moment now of life. Now, I every moment I have at practice, every moment I have in the classroom, every moment I have just being around my guys, my coaching staff, my family. It's been great, and the community's been awesome. So I'm really, really, really happy, feeling good, ready to get rocking and rolling.
Well, today was day one of school.
Yes.
But in a few days, it'll be day one of the regular season,
Yes.
and you guys will be taking on crosstown rival Eastern View. Nobody really gets up for that game.
Yeah.
But, before we get rolling along into the season, we were talking previously about how this is technically your 3rd year, but will be the first year you'll have an entire season where you're at the helm.
Correct.
And I know you got to feel good about that.
Yes, it just feels good to be back on the sideline for a somewhat normal year. Hopefully we can get in 10 games, nothing stops us from playing, and we're able to play a full season, a full playoff, and and give our guys the opportunity to get out there and showcase what they got. The spring season was a good barometer for us, a good way for us to evaluate what we have. But again, the spring season was our way of trying to treat it as a spring practice to springboard into this season here.
And I know Steve is going to want to weigh in, and one of the things Steve had mentioned was that you reiterated the fact that it was an evaluation process for your team and a lot of teams, and you noted, Steve, that your team finished strong.
Yes.
During that period of time.
Yes.
Well, that's what I think was most important, is how you finished from where you started. And I know that just gave you the impetus for a big, hopefully for a good season starting on Friday. And so I just want to ask you, Coach, name some of your starters or some on offense, and what can we look forward to this year?
Well, the offense will still be a power spirit-based team. We got guys back from the season, from last season, or from the spring season, I should say. So we begin with, of course, the guy who will be taking our snaps. Bennett is back. He's for his sophomore year. He improved every game, even though we put more onus on our run game as the season progressed in the spring. He still was able to make plays. He kept us out of bad situations, and he's able to make plays with his arms and legs. At tailback, we have Malachi Terrell. He's coming after sharing the load with one of our better football players in Riley Harrison, who's graduated and gone on to play. He's gone on to play collegiate ball now. Malachi steps in, and now he's the man. He's the back. He's our guy that's gonna he's going to get the majority of the carries. But we do have a lot of depth behind him at the tailback spot. We have a sophomore, Jakari Edwards, that will get carries. Dylan Shiflett, who's another senior, will also get a senior who will get carries, and Devin Polari, who's an 11th grader, will also carry the ball. So we do have some guys that will carry the ball at the tailback spot. Up front on offense, we return Quentin Butler and Corey Hutchinson as starters. We do have to replace the right side of our line. We will have a new center and a new right guard, and also a new right tackle. Our right tackle, honestly, is a old guy but new guy. He was injured all last season, so he wasn't able to play in Will Holland. But he will be able to step in for us. And he steps in at that right tackle spot, and he's a big kid. Him and Quentin are probably around the same size, about 6'5", 250, about 250-ish. So we got some size on the line. In our receiving core, they're all babies, so they're all back. You know, A.J. Marshall, Alex Lowe, Cole Plaster, Jonte Washington, they're all back. They were all babies last year and got their knocks, and now it's time for them to show improve. And defensively, all those guys I just named, those guys will be big on us defense too. Same linemen with Quentin Butler and Corey Hutchinson at line, and linebackers, Bahailu Kabeta, will be starting. He'll take over for Riley's spot as far as our starting middle linebacker who will make all our calls. And the defensive backfield are all young. We are basically breaking in 4 new defensive backs, so that's going to be interesting to see.
Well, I would imagine that your opposing team's scouts recognize your defensive secondary may be new. They might try to exploit it maybe with the pass. So you're probably gearing up for that.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we have guys that we emphasized it in practice all week, and we knew that was a weak point of us. I mean, we basically struggled. Well, I shouldn't say struggled. We lost 2 games based on the deep pass. I mean, you look at the Sharando game. The Sharando game at the end of the season and our bowl game, we actually had the lead, and then they tempoed us, and they were able to throw the ball. So, and that hurt us. And then Hanley, we were 1 play away from being able to beat them, and we give up a pass down the seam, down the middle. And, you know, just so our guys know that. They know teams are going to pick on that, so hopefully that makes them work a little bit harder in the defensive backfield and know that we know teams are going to try to throw the ball on us.
Well, you know, I'm good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing to counteract that is give good linebacker play and good play up front and put pressure on the pass on the quarterback. That'll help the secondary till they get their legs, after a game or 2.
And that is our strength. I mean, up front is our strength. That's where we have our veterans. Like I said, Bahailu started last year. Quentin started last year. Corey started last year. Sean Updike, who's our other interior lineman, he had a lot of playing time last year. So we have guys and Deontay Ford is back, and he played a lot last year. He was a starter for us last year. So our front 4 is basically the veteran of our defense.
But Deontay Ford, no relation, right?
No relation. No relation.
I just want to remind the audience that you came over from Prince Edward.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're so glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here. I enjoyed my time at Prince Edward, but it was time to try to make the leap. And I'm happy that Culpeper was the spot I landed.
You're meeting a lot of people, getting to know them by name and that sort of thing. Of course, Steve and I, as the commentators, have to get to know the names. Yeah. And as I look at this roster and hear you talk, and I think about the recent past as well, why does the name Holland keep coming up so frequently?
It's the 4 boys. They are very good.
Well, Joseph may have been the oldest, perhaps.
Joseph was the oldest,
Yeah,
and then Will he's our senior this year, and then he has 2 brothers, a sophomore and a freshman that also will play for us this year. And Charlie is the baby. He's our backup quarterback. So my quarterbacking room is basically freshman and sophomore. So it bodes well for the future. And David, the middle one, he plays receiver for us, and he's a very solid receiver for us. So he's gonna get some playing time also.
Excellent. I'm looking at your roster, and right now, of course, it's always subject to change. You don't know how the season's going to play out and that sort of thing. Right now, 43 players on this varsity roster, and 5 freshmen, 5 sophomore, 18 juniors, and 15 seniors. I mean, on paper, that would tell me and maybe a lot of people that, hey, this could be a good year, and next year can be a good year. How do you view that, knowing that you have so many upperclassmen at this point?
Well, first it was a blessing because last year we only had 8. So, being able to build on the program and then seeing like the guys are coming out to play football. That's the great thing. We have athletes coming out to play football, and it's good for our senior class to be at what it is. Not the biggest class. Our junior class is our bigger class, so it does bode well for the future. But again, it's just one of those things that we're just looking at providing depth. Like we're just looking at bringing guys up, bringing guys along, teaching them how to practice, teaching them how to play, teaching them how we travel, teaching little things. And that's the reason why you see the 5 freshmen and the 5 sophomores is, they might not get as much playing time as maybe some of the juniors and seniors, but them learning how we do things and how we establish ourselves bodes well for how we handle our future of the program, and that's the big thing.
Coach, I'm so happy that you're getting out of the Northwestern district and going back to the old battlefield, in where I think Culpeper should have belonged all along. But now you've, besides Eastern View, you've got now teams are more familiar with Culpeper.
Yes.
But so break down the district. See how do you see the district playing out this year?
The district itself is competitive. I mean, it's going to be highly competitive. We know right now the king of the mountain is King George.
Right.
I mean, that's who everyone's shooting for. That's who everyone's gunning for. I really think they did lose a talented kid in their quarterback, but they're not the cupboard's far from bare. They have some really good guys coming back in their tight end, middle linebacker, a couple of their receiver. They have an awesome Division I talent at receiver. And the guy who's playing quarterback for them this year is more of a dual threat. So he's going to bring a different element than probably the Mutter kid that left. Then you have, of course, the traditional powerhouse is Eastern View. I mean, that is the standard. That's the torchbearer for our district. I mean, they've been successful for so long that, again, everyone is going after them also. And then you got teams that are extremely athletic in James Monroe and in the Chancellors and teams like that. So the district's going to be tough. And then you got Cortland, who's well coached, and Coach Hall's been there forever. So the district is going to be really, really competitive. And then you got Caroline, who played Eastern View tough last year or during the spring. So they're not anybody that we can sit there and throw our helmets and say,
And Spotsylvania is probably going to be
not to forget about Spotsylvania. They run an offense unconventional offense that you don't see, and you only have a week to prepare for.
They're well coached, and they're going to me. This is going to be one of the surprises this year.
I believe so, because again, they do things that you don't see. And again, if you only have a week to get ready for them, that's hard. Like that gives defensive coordinators, keep them up at night to think about. I got to prepare for an offense that you only see maybe once a year.
Right.
So
speaking of assistant coaches, who do you have on your staff this year?
Right now we have our assistant coaches. We got the same staff back from last year. We did lose one coach, but we picked up a good guy who's.
Got a feeling I know the guy you lost. He went down to Madison, didn't he?
No, that was the year before.
Oh, the year before.
The year
okay.
before.
Yeah.
He ended up going to Madison, and he's doing a great job down there. So, at doing multiple sports.
So basically, you get most of your coaching staff.
Yeah,
back.
we have great continuity in our coaching staff this year, which is awesome. We have my assistant coach, defensive coordinator Thomas McIntyre, who's been coaching same amount of years as I've been coaching, honestly. And then we have Nick Sikowski, who's our special teams coordinator. Austin Pickett, who does a lot. He's our offensive guy. He also does our recruiting. And then we have other assistants in Tyrone Butler and Rodney Stewart, Carlos Hercules, who also are in staff. So all of us are back. All of us are, we get in the meeting room and it's like, we're just a bunch of brothers hanging out, getting ready for games. And then I also had to pick up Katrina Ford, my wife, on the coaching staff to help us as our quality control to help us. Cause we actually because we actually have a young lady on the team this year. So she's helping with that also. So she does our quality control and helps out with that.
No wonder there's so much excitement. In your voice.
Is that young lady going to be a kicker? Or is
No, she actually, Parker actually plays on a position. She's our O-line D-line.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's, she's.
It's going to be something to see.
We'll look forward to seeing that. Wow. 4 days away from the opening of the season with Eastern View and the annual Cannonball Classic. Got to know you're excited about it.
Yes.
And the kids are up for it.
Yes, definitely.
What can the viewing audience expect from the Blue Devil standpoint?
Honestly, we're just gonna come out and play hard. Just try to minimize mistakes and try to play clean as possible. We know that Eastern View is a good football team. No matter who's coaching them, they're going to be athletically. They're going to be very, they're going to play well. Their new coach is very good coach, young guy, very energetic. He brings new energy to the program, and he's going to coach them up. Again, I know people in West Hatfield, but this guy coming in, he's pretty good.
Well, when you say young, usually it goes hand in hand with a high energy level.
Yeah, exactly. He's energetic. He's very energetic. And they're going to play well. They're going to be a really, really good football team. It's not going to be something where they got a new coach. No, they're going to play well. So we're going to have to play clean. We're going to be disciplined. We got to match their energy. We're going to have to match, because again, we have not in the history of the Cannonball Classic, we haven't beaten them.
We're aware.
So we've
been at every game. Right.
So we have to do what we need to handle our business and take care of our business on the field.
I think that if your players' energy level matches yours, that'll be a really good football game.
I hope so. I hope so. We've been practicing, and the guys been really, really focused and honed in practice.
Well, it's been great that you could join us for our Coach's Corner. It's great to have you here. I'm thrilled to know that you're excited about the season, that you're in good health, and you've got a great opportunity ahead of you this season, and it's a lot to be excited about.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just excited that we get to play football again.
Thanks for joining us. And listen, good luck not only Friday, but obviously throughout the season, and we're going to be seeing you.
I was going to say one thing. Good. You're going to have some nice dinner conversations with you and your wife during the season about your break down the coaching and everything. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we've already had a couple of those conversations now. I said, honey, let's keep football in the office, and when we get home, let's keep it home.
It's going to be interesting. That's fun.
Sounds like a plan.
Yes,
Great to see you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Yes.
We'll see you Friday night.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Look forward to it.
And next we'll catch up with Eastern View head coach, Brian Lowry. Welcome to the studio now. New Eastern View head coach, Brian Lowry.
Yes, sir.
Coach, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you all. Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot to learn. How about telling us a little bit about yourself? Born and raised, coaching experience, that sort of thing.
So born and raised all up and down the East Coast. Born in Florida, lived there till I was 5. My family moved up to Connecticut, lived there till I was 12 or 13, moved down here, and been here ever since. My parents still live in Amosville, and that's where we moved, was Amosville. And then I was either in Amosville or Warrenton as I grew up and went to college and things like that. And my wife and I just moved down here on Saturday, actually, down here to Culpeper.
So you went to high school where?
I was actually homeschooled. So
Homeschooled, okay.
yeah, that was a decision my parents made. Just kind of religious and there's their belief, and worked out for me.
I can relate to that. Now, where did you go after high school?
I went to Liberty University.
Okay.
So I had looked at that in tech, and that just seemed to fit me the best.
And your degree in?
Sport management.
Okay.
Majored in sport management.
And so you said you and your wife now are living in Culpeper.
Yes, sir.
Just moved.
Yes, sir.
And your first year job, Eastern View high school football coach.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it sounds cliche, but you have some rather large shoes to fill here.
Well, certainly,
Yeah.
certainly.
And how do you feel about that challenge?
Well, I knew that going in. I think it's one of those things where when I say you can't worry about it, it's not like you ignore it. To say that you don't ever think about it would be lying about that. But you can't control that. So all you can do is just worry about each day and putting the best product on the field that you can, having the best organization that you can, and the rest will take care of itself. You know, what you talked about with the parents is just, you know, give me some grace to start off and let me, you know, win your respect and we'll get there. But Eastern View's a premier dream location. As soon as that came open, I mean, anybody would love to work here. So it is what it is. Hat's a great coach. I can't try and be Hat. I got to try and be myself.
Right.
You know, if I'm trying to be anything other than myself, I'm not being true to myself. And then the kids see that. The kids absolutely see that.
Right.
One of the best lines I ever got from the first head coach I worked for was that kids have an innate ability, no matter if it's teaching or football or anything, innate ability to tell if you are lying or not. And they can just automatically tell. So if you try to feed them that I'm Hat Junior, it won't work. I just got to be myself and be the best leader I can be.
Sounds great. So your coaching experience?
So I've coached for about 10 years. It'll be my 10th year this year. At Fauquier for 5 years. Kettle Run, well, actually Fauquier for 4 years, Kettle Run for 5 years. And then before that as a student assistant over at Liberty University. I don't want to make that sound like I was bigger. They didn't come to me for game planning or anything like that. But I picked up a lot from them. You know, just learning the game from them, learning how to chart plays, how to game plan, how to, throughout the week, keep track of the plays that you've run in practice so you're hitting everything and you're not doubling up where you don't need to. And all that has influenced how I coach throughout the years. So there's still plenty more to grow. There's still plenty more to learn. But it's been solid so far.
And Coach, speaking of your philosophy, what do you do offensively? What is your philosophy offensively and defensively?
Offensively, I think you have to fit the players. So 1 year over at Kettle Run, we went 1-9. We had some players that didn't come out till August, so we didn't really know that they would, and they ended up being some of our best players as the years went on. But we didn't really fit them, and that's on me. As offensive coordinator, we did not fit the players very well. And you know, I was talking with somebody just a few minutes ago. I make mistakes, certainly, as first-year head coach. My goal is to never make the same mistake twice, and I feel like I'm pretty good at that. And so with that in mind, from that year, we went 1-9 at Kettle Run, and I do not feel that I fit the players very well into their strengths. Goal is to never do that again, right? So I have some things in mind as a spread offense, and I think it fits our players. I think everything we're doing right now fits our players. But as we learn them and they learn me and so on and so forth, you know, we're going to change things within the system to fit them. Let's say we turn into more of a power team. Well, that's what we're going to do. Maybe we don't pick up power as well and even more of a zone team. Well, that's what we're going to do. You know, we have some different packages in there. Predominantly we're spread, but we have other packages where if we need to get up close, we can do that. No problem. You know, it just, you have to tailor the schemes to fit the kids. So that's me offensively. Defensively, again, I'm not beholden to one scheme. You know, some coaches are 4-2-5, some coaches are 3-4, some coaches are whatever. Again, what do you fit the kids? What best fits their talent? And this year, for the bodies that we have and the talent that we have, 3-4 fits us the best. Kind of an attacking 3-4. So, and I think you have your rules, and then you can change your packages to stay within those rules to fit the kids the best way possible. It's all about putting them in position to succeed.
Right, right.
Right. And I was going to ask you, what about, you know, Coach Hatfield obviously left. We wish him a lot of success up at Battlefield. A lot of good years with Coach Hatfield here at Eastern View. But you're coming in. Obviously, you've got a staff to put together. Are we going to hear some familiar names on this year's coaching staff, or is everyone new, or is it a mix, or what?
It's a mix. You know, there are 3 coaches who are back from working with Coach Hatfield. 2 of them have been there for quite a while. Brent Hartle, he's our JV head coach, and then defensive, you know, linebackers. We have 2 defensive linebacker coaches. And then Jamie Labazetta is our defensive coordinator. He was as an assistant, a volunteer assistant last year with Coach Hatfield. And then Jeff Jenkins is our JV offensive coordinator and, you know, tight ends and fullbacks coach on varsity. And those 3 have been with Coach Hatfield for a while. Labazetta, just 1 year, but Coach Jenkins has been here for, I mean, he's a Culpeper lifer. And then Coach Hartle has been here for several years as well. So those 3 are staying. And I think it's important to have people that the kids see and recognize. And when the kids see those coaches buying in, they also can buy in. You know, you're trying to make the kids comfortable. It's about them.
Yeah, I look at the rosters, you know, and compare them each year. I look at, you know, what players have graduated and moved on. Eastern View lost a lot of players that,
Sure.
you know, were big names.
Sure.
You've got a lot of players on your roster. How do you assess the numbers and the talent and everything you have so far? And I know it's going to change some, but
Sure.
how do you feel about it right now?
You know, I'm excited about it. You know, you can't I can't lie to you and say we're very seasoned and grizzled veterans. We're quite young in some spaces. But, and I've told several people this, just because we're playing young people doesn't mean we're punting on this season. We believe that we're going to be competitive and have a shot and have a chance in every single game that we play. And that's all you can ask for going into game is that you have a chance, right? And those players are just going to continue to grow, and we're just going to continue to get better. And they're going to make some mistakes, and the goal is to keep them from making the same mistakes twice and just continue to grow, and we'll get there. I feel good about our roster. I really do. It's not something that in high school you're going to have change. You're going to have people graduate. That's the beauty of high school ball. And you can't go recruit. You just got to go with the guys you have. And I think the crop we have right now, the young men that we have right now, is a good group. And they're just going to continue to grow together and continue to push forward. They're going to make, what we've really talked about is making their own name at Eastern View. Right. Don't worry about what's happened in the past. Don't try and be the Eastern View of old.
Yeah.
Be yourself and write your own story.
Right.
Yeah, it really comes down to whatever profession or venture we're in, we can really only be ourselves.
Yeah.
If you think about it. There are people you can emulate,
right,
but you're never really going to be them. And you got to put your own mark on things.
Absolutely.
I think exactly what you're talking about. I'm very excited about it. I hear a lot of excitement in your voice. We're going to see some familiar names and people that we've known through the years. We've been watching Eastern View ever since its inception in 2008. A lot of great memories, a lot of great teams. I really want to echo what you said earlier about, that you hope that the people in the community will give you some grace and extend that to you. Because look, Steve and I are close in age, and I've been watching football, and he's been watching football all our lives. And I could tell you, I couldn't tell you how many examples I could think of coaches who came in, and they did some great things, but it wasn't necessarily that first year. It's a process where you're bringing your people in, you're getting everyone in the right position, and I've seen it happen at the high school level where programs just changed tremendously. But the coach needed a couple years or needed 3 or 4 years.
Right.
It's not, people have to understand that just because your team has been winning, you don't change and you keep that, it's going to be some overnight sensation. I think it's unfair. I hope that people will, again, give you that grace that you deserve.
Thank you.
You sound like really you've got some experience and you've got the energy and that sort of thing. You've got the tradition at Eastern View. Steve, what am I missing?
Nothing. I mean, it's just like in this community, there's always the unfair expectations because now that Coach Hatfield's left, and you come in and if something doesn't go right, they're all gonna go, oh, what's wrong with the program? And I like how your philosophy is that, give the parents, they give us some grace. Let the kids be their, make their own story at Eastern View, and I like that. And that's a very good philosophy. And so,
the goal is we're not trying to make excuses. We're not trying to set up, expectation of failure. We're trying to reach the standards. Something I really believe in is having high standards. And these are the expectations, these are the standards, and our goal is to continue to rise to them. But it's a process, and we're going to get there.
Right. I was just going to say, can you just quickly highlight a few players that are going to have a good season this year?
Obviously, you look at Braden Walker. He's been a big leader for our program. He works extremely hard, extremely coachable, gives effort constantly. Say Brett Clatterball as well. He's an incoming freshman, but kids automatically see him as a leader, and he plays hard as a leader. Rack Lawson has a shot to have a great season for us. And Caden Hughesby, I think people will be surprised at what they see from him. He had a tough year last year, and he's grown leaps and bounds. I think in general, COVID was tough for Eastern View last year, and that's nobody's fault. No. That just is the hand that we were all dealt. Right.
And developmentally, when you're talking about a high school kid, a year can be a lot in terms of development. And so we're going to certainly look for Caden to do some good things. And you've mentioned Caden, you've mentioned Rack Lawson and a couple others. And so before I derailed your train of thought, you were going to say who else?
From there, we'll have a lot of young kids that are going to make a name for themselves. And people won't really know their names right off the bat. But, I look at Trayvon Brock at safety and DeMaio Hunter at safety as well. Josiah Spencer's been killing it at a corner for us. Xavier Terrell's been doing a great job. Connor Weeks was there last year, and he'll continue to get back and continue to work for our program. Just in general, there's a ton of names that I could give you that are all working hard and working to get to the standards. I know they were quite frustrated with 3-3 last year. They kind of took it personally, and their goal is to get back to the standard of where we want to be. So if I went through all the names, we'd be here all night. There's just lots of people that are embracing their role and going forward.
How many kids you got out?
Right now we have 57, and we're getting there. I know that's a little down from years in past, but again, we're coming back from COVID and getting people back out. And, some freshmen, as they've come back into the halls, they've decided they want to come back out, and they're always welcome. We have 4 years to build with them. And those numbers are going to keep on rising as kids enjoy the program and enjoy working together.
57, does that count the players that you mentioned with the junior varsity class that would dress for the 57?
So 57 is the whole program,
Whole program.
varsity and JV.
Right. Okay.
Sure.
And COVID protocols coming in. I mean, I know they got to wear the mask during
Yeah.
school, and it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully that we'll get through the season and.
Yeah,
everything
and I'll say the kids have all really embraced making sure that they are doing what they need to do to have a season. They're all aware of, after last year, one small misstep, but accidental even, not intentional. One small misstep can affect the entire program. They're all really working hard to make sure that they are toeing the line and doing their jobs and playing by the rules, if you will, with the mitigation policy and whatnot.
We asked Coach Ford, and I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you look at the district this year, and where do you see strengths and weaknesses?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm new to the district, so I can't give you a lot of background on what they've been in the past. Culpeper is always going to be a challenge, right? It's a crosstown rivalry, and we're excited for that this coming Friday.
But you have had some experience at King George, right?
No, we actually didn't play them over at Kettle Run. So
I'm sorry. I was thinking
Yeah,
King
James
George is
Monroe,
at Kettle Run,
right?
but it was Fauquier and Kettle Run where you were.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
okay.
King George, though, I know that they had a very successful year last year. They graduated some, but anytime you have that much success, you're assuming that they've built that over the years, not just a flash in the pan. So they're going to be tough. Cortland, they're always a great challenge. It's Cortland, So I think we're in a very competitive
James
district.
Monroe.
Absolutely, James Monroe. I mean, they have
Spotsylvania.
everything I've heard is they have athletes for days, and Spotsylvania runs that offense where if you're not sound, they're going to expose you.
And that's what Coach Ford was talking about too. Their offense that
Yeah.
you have a little time to prepare for.
Yeah, well, you got to make sure you are, gap sound, that you're reading correctly, that you're not falling asleep and just going with motions, and you got to do your job to the best of your ability.
I think that the Culpeper community should be grateful to have you at Eastern View, and I think grateful that Coach Ford is at Culpeper.
Absolutely.
And I think it's nice that you guys can start the season soon and against each other in the
Yes, sir.
annual Cannonball Classic. So how exciting is that?
You can't ask for anything bigger. You can't ask for anything better. I mean, you're starting off on a Friday night. The whole town's going to be there. And now I haven't experienced that, obviously, but on film, I know from watching, Culpeper film, and you see just the stands are full. It's a wild atmosphere. I can't wait to be a part of that.
And it's everything high school football should be.
It should be, absolutely. And I'll say what I love is the relationship between me and Coach Ford and the staff over there. Coach Pickett is on the staff over there, and I coached his brother over at Kettle Run. We have a really good relationship. And so it's just going to be a positive rivalry. It doesn't get that personal negativity like where we're going against each other. We dislike each other. No, it's great. I always wish Coach Ford the best, and it's been really good working with him and not against him.
Right.
You know what I mean? To build Culpeper, the county and the town as a whole.
It's like you can pull for each other about 9 out of 10 times during the regular season.
Oh, absolutely.
When
Look,
you're
I wish
playing.
them the best those other 9 games,
Well,
no
as I
doubt.
said, it's a little bit more different though this year because it's
District, yeah,
both of them are in the
yeah.
district.
Yeah.
It's a little easizer for Hatfield to say, "Oh, we're in the battlefield and they're in the Northwest District." We
Sure.
only need
Absolutely
one.
more at stake, right?
Sure.
So,
So on a personal note, I've learned a long time ago that coaches' wives are very special. They're very special because they realize their husbands are away from home a lot.
Yes.
And there's a lot of time that coaches put in that a lot of people don't even know about, but it's so consuming.
Right.
You have to have a great wife to be in support of that.
absolutely.
So when you're not doing football, what are some of your social activities that you can do for fun as an outlet and maybe some
Well, really, it's all about our kids. We have 2 kids, Sam and Nora. Sam is 5 and Nora is 2. They get along great. It's always fun to hear them laugh and giggle. Right now, social life is moving, so that's been a lot. But going on hikes with them, going playing with them. I mean, I'm not a country boy, but getting outside and getting away from the TV and going and hanging out, going shopping together, which is something that was a big draw about Culpeper, is that there's, Culpeper's done a great job of developing. You know what I mean? It's been fantastic to be able to move in here and go experience life together. the old country store, the ice cream right down the road. Like, there's just so much here that we really can't wait to be a full integrated part of this community.
I think you're exactly right. And, of course, Steve, grew up here and went to high school here, and he can attest to how Culpeper's changed so much over the years. I came to the area in '88, and I can tell you how much has changed since then.
I came here in '72.
So,
We
a
moved to
lot
Culpeper
of,
County in 2003, and it looked significantly different from that.
right.
You know?
But I think you're in a great place. I think it's a great community for where people get behind you and get excited about what's going on. And I know we're happy about it. I always hate to see the summer go, but I never have a letdown when football starts either.
Hey, once
So-
football season's here.
That's the way it is. Well, we're only four days away from the opening game of the season.
Yes, sir.
Eastern View and Culpeper Annual Cannonball Classic. Two great coaches, two great teams, and I know we're going to be excited to be there. Coach, any final thoughts you have about the team, the season, your outlook, just anything intangible or anything you want to let the viewing audience know?
No, I think we're just trying to build the program the right way. And when that's such a cliche term because there's more than one right way, right? But my vision is discipline, hard work, and focus. If we're disciplined to do our jobs every single day, if we focus on the day that you're in and not what happened in the past, with Eastern View's history against Culpeper, we're 0-0 this year. We haven't won anything as a program this year. Focus on where we're at today. What can we do today? And then, just the hard work. The success you want doesn't just magically happen. You're not going to beat anybody by just being Eastern View.
Right.
You got to beat them by doing your job effectively and working really hard to prepare for that. And that's what we're trying to build, and I think that's what the kids are starting to buy in, and we're going to get there.
Well said, Coach. Great to have you.
Thank you very much.
Good to meet with you, and
We
looking
look forward-
forward to the season.
Yeah, we look forward to getting to know you, watching the team, and learning
sir.
more about you and the team. And this is an annual event, so
I'll
as
see you
long as
next
you're at
year.
Eastern View, we will expect to see you. This is really the way our season kicks off each year, where we bring in the coaches and get to know them, and we're welcoming you for the first time, welcoming Coach Ford, not officially for the first time, but
Right.
we're grateful that he gets to come back in good health and actually be at the helm
Yes.
for a full season.
Yes.
We're very happy for him and his family, for you and yours moving into the community, and we're going to be pulling for you and wishing great things for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And here in the Coaches Corner, we'll have more to talk about. All right, we've had the opportunity to meet both coaches and talk to them. And Steve, how can you not feel excited when you look at the demeanor and the upbeat ways that these coaches have and how excited they are? How can you not be excited about Friday?
It's impossible, Mark. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to this season to really get to know Coach Ford, and I'm glad to see him back health-wise and leading Culpeper Blue Devils. We got to meet Coach Brian Lowry. I came away very impressed, and I like what he said about his team. And then the other component is the Cannonball Classic coming up here on Friday night. It's a district game, so that's going to add a little bit more flavor to the game than years past, because there weren't district games. So now we have right off the bat a district clash between the Blue Devils and the Cyclones. So it's going to be I'm very excited about Friday night.
One of the things I want to bring out about our meeting with Coach Lowry is how I was impressed with his philosophical approach, not only to football, but to life in general.
Yeah, I was too. I mean, he seems very well grounded, and he knows what he wants, what kind of product he wants to put on the field for the fans. But basically, what I liked is how he got in to meet with the kids and said, this isn't, we're not doing it this way or that way. You got to set your own mark on Eastern View football, and basically, so the kids wouldn't have to worry about living up to expectations now that Coach Hatfield is gone. I thought that was very well said in what he did.
And then with Coach Ford, this is his third year, but technically this is the first year he'll be at the helm as the head coach for the entire season. So it's a good thing for him, his family, the team, and everyone really.
Oh, I agree. And like I said, it's going to be an exciting year. I think Culpeper is going to be vastly improved. I'm very interested to see what product that Brian Lowry is going to be with Eastern View, and they've got some good returning players too. So and then the whole makeup of the Battlefield District we go into the season, there's going to be some teams that are going to be surprising and teams that aren't going to be surprising. So it's I'm just so excited and to do it with you again, Mark. This is our 24th season, but we can also say it's the 25th because we had the spring in there. So, but again, I'm just looking forward to doing the games.
And I don't get it. We started in 1998, and Johnny keeps bringing us back.
I know.
What's going on with this?
He must like us.
I don't know. No one else wants the job, I guess. But Steve, I'm looking forward to calling the games with you again, working with Johnny and Nicole Wooten here at the Culpeper Media Network. It's always been a great time. We always have fun. And I can't imagine this season being any different. And I know you're excited about it. We all are. You enjoyed the Coach's Corner tonight. And your final thoughts before we go off the air?
Just getting ready for an exciting season. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to broadcasting with you. And I'm just, like I said, let's suit them up and play football on Friday night.
All right. Thanks for watching the Coach's Corner. And our live broadcast will continue this Friday at Broman Field for the annual Cannonball Classic. Till then, so long, everybody. Hope to see you there.